and you see that aha moment in the students' eyes, that is very rewarding. At that time, I very foolishly went into automating some of these things that we were doing regularly as chores in the lab. How do you ensure that you will get that kind of quality to every student who's coming out of the system?
Hey pupils, this is Sharmida Kaushik, and if you're watching this, you are the learning kind. This is brought to you by Perpetual Pupil, experts at learning and development, currently focused on bringing new perspectives to education. I'm very excited to introduce our guest today. He has made my high school experience and science classroom so fun and so inclusive, even for somebody as bizarro and thought as me. We have Sudhir Pilliyal, who is a teacher. He is the founder of a makerspace called Creo, which he runs in his own place. And he has an education in neuroscience, but has meandered through multiple fields to arrive at, electronics and robotics and multiple other fields like machine learning. So I'm so excited to talk about science and scientific temperaments and science classrooms today with him. Hi, Sudhir.
Hi.
Was I your favorite student in school?
No.
I've always wanted.
You were interesting though.
Oh, I was interesting. Okay, I'll take it. So, how would you say that you chose to teach, even though you had you had chosen to take up a career in neuroscience, and then you kind of moved on to robotics? Why did you choose to teach?
So the story is a little long run, but ultimately my brother was seriously into teaching, and he really enjoyed teaching a lot, and I also learned a lot from him. And we used to have these sort of sessions in our house itself, where we would gather kids from the neighborhood and teach them science. Essentially, our main thing was that we learned science out of our own curiosity, and we enjoyed doing it. And it doesn't have to be this chore that you have to struggle through. That was our main thing that we wanted to get across. So this was something that we were doing. And I was still mainly involved in neuroscience at the time when I was doing all of this. I used to help my brother in doing all of this. And then later, once I chose not to go much deeper in that line, I still enjoyed this process of teaching. And that sort of continues even today. At the makerspace, I teach woodworking and CAD and all of these different things, electronics, all of these things. So there is a joy that when somebody who doesn't know something and they're trying to figure something out, and you have enabled that, and you see that aha moment in the students' eyes, that is very rewarding. I think that is why I continue to teach.
You picked Purna though.
Yeah. So the reason why, essentially, I had some friends who were teaching in Purna, and who were also part of this, experiment where we were doing at home. So at home, when we were doing it, we had a lot of problems with parents saying that, oh, is this a tuition? Why should we send our kids, and all these other kinds of things, and convincing people of why we are doing whatever we are doing itself was such a big deal. And it was quite frustrating. So in Purna, it was a very different kind of a space, and both these friends of mine who were teaching there, they really enjoyed the process there, because there was freedom to teach your own way and not really, trying to stick to the syllabus or anything like that. The syllabus is a guideline, and you'll try to get people prepared for exams and all of these things, but that is not the central aim. And that was really liberating as a teacher, where, like even for me, when I was teaching at Purna, like in biology classes, because some random question would come. I remember, we had discussions about black holes and everything.
With me, correct. I was so interested, and it would turn into a physics class.
Yeah, I mean, why have this artificial boundary between these different things when, in our minds, in reality also there is
a natural connection.
Yeah.
Oh, did you mean Vinay and Shrija when you said friends?
Yes.
Nice. What like when you said you were still into neuroscience, were you like doing research or?
Yes. So I was a what's called a junior research fellow. Generally, people do this before they decide to go ahead with a PhD. I was mulling over it for a long time whether I wanted to do it or not, and finally decided not to.
Oh, you still haven't done a PhD?
No.
Whoa, okay.
I'm still a BSc by my education qualifications.
Oh, how come you chose not to?
It's just another piece of paper at the end of it. You have to do a lot of circus to, get these different, degrees and stuff like that. It just felt that I'm not really, like, I was not really up to, doing all this work just to get another this thing. The PhD work itself was actually quite nice in terms of what was happening at NCBS and stuff. But the amount of effort, and then what I wanted, I had to sort of introspect and see what is it that I really want. And then it turned out that I just care about solving interesting things. It doesn't matter whether it is science or engineering or any of these things. So I quit because I wanted to make. At that time, I very foolishly went into automating some of these things that we were doing regularly as chores in the lab. Fly maintenance. I used to work in a fly lab, a Drosophila lab. So you have these fruit flies, which are these tiny little things. A lot of genetic tools and all those things that are available on it. And so these extremely brainy people with PhDs and everything, they have to sit and transfer flies from one bottle to another, all these things regularly. Like, that's a significant
time of their day.
Yeah. So I wanted to automate some of these things, and I thought I would be able to. And then when I quit and I started doing that, I realized that, I knew nothing in mechanical engineering. I knew nothing. I mean, I knew electronics, I knew computer science and stuff like that. I knew how to do programming and stuff, but I thought that would translate to everything, because I'll figure out everything. And I tried and fumbled and struggled, and then found out how hard the problem actually is. And I mean, it is still a tackleable problem, but so that is sort of how I got out of academia in particular, in terms of neuroscience and stuff. But throughout I used to still always have some. I used to be a part-time teacher at Purna. The other times I used to do freelancing work and stuff. Yeah.
But you are also a recruiter right now. You also take part in some recruitments, and
as I run an electronics department. So I need to.
But I mean, don't you? At least for me right now, who's still in undergraduation, I feel like there's a lot of weightage put on acquiring degrees. You may be extremely skilled and smart and everything, but sometimes you don't even get through the basic entrance into jobs or universities if you don't show those credentials. So how does it work for you?
So unfortunately, the problem from a recruiter's side is that this still seems like it is necessary, in the sense that it's like a path of discovery to whoever this person is, that person's skills. Unfortunately, the standard of what comes as output from the education system is like so low and so disconnected from what is actually needed, right? So you can have really smart people who are extremely good at solving these, weird theoretical problems that will be there only in question papers, but are not there in real life, right? They'll be incredibly smart, but they're not able to transfer that skills to a real problem because they're still thinking in this very textbooky way where, you have done the same problem a million times over, and then you can, like, without thinking, just get the answer out. But you ask, just a small deviation from that question itself. You'll
Throws
just not
you
have
off
any
balance.
So I've had so many interviews where people from reputed institutions and stuff like that who just are not able to handle questions that my 12th standard students were able to
I think
answer.
you've said that many times, like my 12th standard student is going to solve this better than you.
It has happened quite a few times. It was not just the one odd candidate. It has happened quite a few times. So that I think shows something about what the system is producing in general, but I still do not know what a solution to that is, because we are this huge mass manufacturing kind of this thing. How do you ensure that you will get that kind of quality to every student who's coming out of the system? And the incentives are ultimately monetary rather than the joy of learning. And
like if I land a 5 lakh package, nobody cares that I'm way stupider than the kid who didn't land it.
Yeah.
We were actually just talking about that, how like people from extremely popular, extremely high ranking universities, like it's so difficult to even get into those universities, come out being baffled about the problems in the real world. And so how do you deal with it? Because I'm sure you are in the middle of the young adults, the students who just get out, who are looking for a job, to even people who are looking for a job after many years of experience. How is that a balance for you?
So most people always learn on the job, right? So that and you have to respect that is going to be the process. And I don't see a way out, because what you need in a very application centric place like a robotics company, right? What you need is something so specific and so niche. You need the basics that you were taught in college and stuff like that. You will need to know your math. Without knowing your math, you come and do this, you'll have a lot of catching up to do. I would still say you cannot do it. I would say there's a lot of catching up to do. And it is not sufficient. It is necessary but not sufficient. That is how I see it. There are quite a lot of things that you would learn during your engineering or your PU or any of these things that generally don't get applied at all finally in your final choice. And the thing is, it depends upon what you are choosing, right? In school, you're learning the most generic things that are applicable to everything, that no matter what anybody is going to do, it's going to be somewhat useful to them, is what you learn in school. And then you focus down further. Amongst these things, there is definitely going to be some amount of like wastage of intellect wasted on things that you're not interested in and you're not going to work on. But still, I think it helps in having a rough idea of, okay, this is what humanity has figured out. At least having that level of understanding of being able to summarize what we all know as humanity in general. I think we need to have that, and that is also not there. But it takes so much time to actually communicate that across. And I don't know what the solution to that problem is, but there is, as you said, there is this a huge gap, between what is actually needed on the field and what input you would get from the system. And as I think this is a common thing that all companies do. You have internships, you have all of these things, just because people get a taste of what real work in the real world is. You might be really excited about something, but nobody else cares about it. Then it's a hobby. It's nobody's going to pay you for it.
Okay.
Right. So these kinds of figuring out, I think, generally people do within like the first year after their education. Generally, people do this whole figuring out process, and I think after that, people are generally employable, gainfully, something
able to contribute.
Yeah, able to contribute well enough. And but the other downside is that you might have somebody who's super skilled at something, but there is no pathway to discover them.
Oh,
Right. There were situations where there are people who are like super smart, and their basic math is like really screwy, but they're really good at tinkering around with electronics and stuff like that. There are many things that these people can do, but will never get a job for
doing that,
because they did not clear some of these things, because they were in bad at it for a long time, and they had a lot of catching up to do, and they never bothered to do that this thing, and then that gap stays, and then certain kind of things are completely closed off to them. Like, for example, if I want to become an aerospace engineer right now, or if I want to become an architect right now, maybe I can become an architect, I don't know. As in terms of, or say, becoming a doctor, for example, I don't think there is a legal way in which I can become a doctor. Like, thankfully so.
Legal way.
But there is no such thing as, you just, you can go read up anything you want, no matter how self-driven you are. There are certain pathways that just
the qualifications matter.
Yeah.
I remember even in class, Manvi and I were building we wanted to build an automatic alarm clock. I remember in our lab. And you would not give us any of the answers. We'd come and ask you, wait, how do we make this happen? You're like, figure it out. And we would spend days on days pondering on something. You would have just told us, like, do this, and we've gotten it. So was that like a tactic behind?
Yes, that was absolutely deliberate. Most of the fun is in not finding the solution, but in your path towards there. It doesn't matter if you don't have a functioning thing at the end of it also. If you actually have a functioning thing at the end of it, there's a huge burst of joy. But even without that, according to me, that is learning. Not just according to me, according to a lot of, even in terms of machine learning and stuff like that. The definition of machine learning is that it should be able to learn, tell something about, something that it is not trained on, right? So if you have mucked up one answer so many times and you're repeating it, that is not learning.
Yeah, I'll tell you a joke. I'm supposed to memorize the definition of machine learning for my exam.
Oh my God, that is so wrong in so many levels.
So that that's an irony that I have to be with right now. But how do you think it's going to be possible if, let's say, there are a bunch of 40 to 50 kids in the class and you want to allow them all to explore and learn in this way? Do you think that could be possible?
So, the one important thing for being able to do the kind of classes that I had with you. It was we had a smallish class size. Okay, like when I would complain that my class is growing too big. It's got 15 students.
Yeah, exactly.
And my ideal class size would be 5. But
We
no.
were 5 in IGCSE, right? Yeah.
But other classes,
Okay.
for example, there were largish classes, right? But it then soon becomes an economics problem, right? You have more teachers per class than students. It becomes an issue. So it is not really scalable. Although it is really nice, it is not scalable as a system. But those places where you are able to do that will be the most satisfying experiences. But expecting that the whole planet should be teaching that way is not going to happen. I've gone and taught in government schools also, and where everyone was listening intently. It was not like
they were regular class.
Yeah. So. It is just not possible to tailor it to that large amount of people. You can sort of do things like divide things into a few different kinds of groups. I mean, you have, generally, according to me, in a class, there are people who are absolutely disinterested and do not care about the subject. And it's completely a valid stance. I don't have anything. Everybody doesn't need to be interested in everything, right? And something to keep them occupied and not bored. That is one thing. And then there are other people who are absolutely interested in it and who will take the conversation to a completely different direction, completely drive this thing. They also need to be catered. Then there are also people who need to know this, don't know that they need to know it. But it will generally help them. Like, say, for example, biology and stuff like that in school, you don't really care about all the different, what your circulatory system is doing.
Yeah, we had this in-depth chapter on epigenetics, I remember, and we had to do this whole color coding alleles of fruit flies, and it was the biggest chunk of the examination. So that's what I'm asking, like, how do we kind of say this is something that you really need, and we say that we will impose science as a subject in school? How important do you think that is?
I think it is important that science is generally taught in schools. I think that, I might still be biased because I so believe in the process of science. But at least in terms of knowledge of, like in school, and I think until something like 12th and stuff like that, people shouldn't over-specialize, and you just generally need to know, you should have enough of a flavor of all the different things that are potential branching off points for you. And you will not be able to do that without going into some amount of detail. But I still don't think epigenetics is something that you need to know by 12th, probably.
Yeah.
But I would still say that there has to be something that leads to, like, if you're curious about something, you should be able to discover epigenetics after. There are some things that, like epigenetics, I would say is still somewhat a little more useful than learning quantum mechanics in 8th and 9th standard. Like we had quantum mechanics, all this Aufbau principle and all these other things. We didn't know what is happening there. Like why is...
now are they torturing you?
Yeah, I mean... like there were my classmates much later in BSc who were saying, do atoms and electrons really exist? We feel so made up.
Yeah.
Right?
Actually, if you think about it. Yeah.
Right? So, The thing is, people don't know the entire story of how we got here, right? There is no context. You're just, this entire thing is just thrust on you that you're supposed to remember how these SPDF orbitals are supposed to be filled up, and you don't care a damn about what these are. And even people who end up becoming, chartered accountants or architects
Have to learn
have
it.
to learn this if they're in 8th or 9th standard. Like, why?
It's
So those parts, I think there is some amount of restructuring where, gradually as you keep becoming more and more specialized in something, you get more details into something, but you should have paths of discovering that, and it shouldn't be as mandatory as it is right now in terms of all the branches to that level of detail. Maybe not. And I mean, I still don't have a complete picture of what is the perfect system that will solve all problems. I think any of the changes that I'm suggesting will probably mess something else up.
okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely feel that there is. People are learning more than what is necessary in some of these things, and there are many things that should become absolute common sense, which is not actually prevalent across this thing. So both these things do exist.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And until next time, don't stop learning.